All right.
Hey, Hunterace, welcome to the fireside.
Yo, thank you. Hello, Alan. I'm
Welcome,
glad to be
welcome.
here.
Yeah,
Glad
I'm
to be.
so I'm so excited to have you here. I'm like, hey, it's a former world champion, right?
Yeah. Some time ago now, but yeah,
Some
before.
time ago. Oh, come on, you've always been a people's champion, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're taping this at August the 6th, and then it's been 3 days. It's been 3 days since the new expansion. So there is a lot of interesting things going on. There are some maybe unprecedented things going on in my view, but let's check out how you feel. First of all, there's a bunch of potential, people bitching about combo decks and whatnot. What do you what is your general view of the meta just by the first 3 days, first glance?
So first glance of this expansion, I was very hyped. I had a card review
Mm-hmm.
together with Fino, Jambra, and Orange, and
Yes,
I think we had our longest card review ever. I think we made it to maybe 6 hours, which is
it's that
pretty.
exciting, right?
It is pretty insane, right? Because there's not like that many cards to talk about, but we managed to just keep it going, right? So we were very clearly excited about a lot of the cards. And so far, this expansion definitely hasn't disappointed me. I feel that right now, it feels that more than ever, there are new decks playable. I feel like right now in this expansion, we're sort of just in an entirely different meta than we were previously, which I feel like is very refreshing because I feel like we've been kind of in the same thing for a while right now, and I feel like this expansion is really trying to change it up, which I really like.
But then, do you agree that it's a little bit too much combo deck dominant? All those complaining. Is it like valid? All those Leroy Jenkins memes.
Well, to be fair, I feel like the Leroy Jenkins memes is pretty good because
Yeah, I love it, man.
like, like even though you don't have maybe like you could argue whether or not it's right to complain, but the Leroy Jenkins meme definitely does fit exactly right.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
You've been playing Odd Rogue and Odd Paladin back in the days for so long. Leroy Jenkins has been your friend.
yeah, and like the combos right now. Personally, I'm like a big combo player, right? So I will always
Hmm.
be a bit biased, I think, towards the combo side of things.
Oh yeah,
And
for
right
sure.
now, the combo decks are very crazy, I would say. You know, like Leroy Jenkins doesn't actually have
Leroy
too much to
Jenkins
say.
Shadow Step and setting up for like 12 lethal is like what was like this is like boomer plays, right?
Yeah. That's the old days now. Um, right now, you can literally just OTK from like almost nothing. It feels like,
Yeah,
which
you
is
know. Mhm.
definitely like a very hot debate I've seen right now in the Hearthstone community. I
And then
do believe though
mm,
that the I feel right now, compared to the last expansion, that the game has generally speeded up quite a bit,
mm,
which I think is a very good thing for the game because for faster games like feels a lot better to play. Last expansion, it was
priest mirror,
very
priest mirror
yeah.
alert.
Well, anything versus priest, you know. You could argue it was a mirror and just you sitting there for like ages, which I don't think was very satisfying. But I can see that a lot of the players that are very into more control heavy decks seem to be like very struggling right now in the current meta game with the high rise in combo. But I also do believe that right now it is very early in the meta game, right? And I feel like normally at the beginning of every meta game or expansion, if there are like crazy combo decks, right? Everyone sort of wants to try out that first, and
Hmm.
like
We
eventually,
had the battle master mage, but it never got competitive, right? Stuff like that.
yeah, Battle Master. We had Mosaki Mage, yeah, and we've had other combo decks like very early that like towards later on people refined other decks and was able to beat it. And that's one of the reasons I think that control is like very hard to play right now, is that these combo decks are extremely like consistent at what they do, right? And
Oh,
they can
too too
literally just
too
lethal you
consistent
from,
for some people.
yeah, way too consistent for some people, right? And when everyone is in this like hype of all the control or all the combo decks, right? People just want to like play it because it's fun and it's new, right? And in that
Yeah.
meta game, it's very hard to play control.
Well, wait till people get bored about combo decks and then all the hunters coming out.
Yeah. So like what I do believe is the case, but like we'll probably experience it later, is that I do think like even though these combo decks are very fast, they do have vulnerabilities, and I don't think people are really trying too much to abuse like their vulnerabilities right now.
For the
Like
combo decks, right?
I feel like right now we're more in like a for fun state where people are just trying out new stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think if people like really wanted to try to beat some of these combo decks with like more aggressive decks, then the combo decks would struggle a lot more. And then at that point where people figure that out, that the combo decks maybe are beatable by more aggressive strategies, right? We will see potentially the full circle come, right? And
Yeah.
control maybe coming back again.
Especially with Miracle Rogue, the Miracle Rogue that seems very hyped and exciting. Like even you tweeted it's like the perfect 30, but then the deck just doesn't. I mean to me, I only only take a look on HS replay, and then it doesn't seem too juicy.
Yeah. If you look at stats at HS Replay right now, it doesn't seem that any of the combo decks are doing too well. I guess you could argue that I think the best performing combo deck on HS Replay is OTK Mage, but
Is
I'm
it?
not even sure if that is like too
Do you
much of a
mean like
combo
a
deck.
Quest Mage or
Yeah,
the
Quest
one with
Mage.
gadgets in it?
Yeah, Quest Mage, like variants of Quest Mage, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that is less of a combo deck and more of like a
It's just spell mage.
unfiltered.
It's just flow.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's not like you do anything too new. It's just that I think that with Spellmage specifically, there is like I think Spellmage might be one of the harder combo decks to counter because of the infinite ignite, right? And that is like very
Mm-hmm.
hard for control decks to actually have a chance against.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like
you want to outvalue ignite? Are you silly?
yeah. That is pretty hard, right? But at the same time, I feel like by like so some like control decks should not be able to beat every ODK deck, right? Because then we're suddenly in this state where wait, why are
Oh,
you not playing control
now
deck?
it's like every game 40 minutes.
Yeah, of course. So I feel like there will always be some decks that you end up
Mm,
losing to. I
yeah, I
also do
always.
believe that
Please.
combo decks have like some weaknesses to control decks even that are not being exploited right now. I feel
Oh
like
yeah, we
if you are
haven't.
tech, like I can see control decks with cards like Post, Cult Neophyte,
Uh-huh.
Mutinous, maybe more
Oh,
armor
mutinous.
gain.
Actually, my after I played a lot of Quest Mage, it's so vulnerable to mutinous. It's like easy beat. But if you know your opponents play it, you can really play around it though.
Yeah, for sure. But all of these cards slow down the combo decks a lot, right? So they
Yeah,
could
the slowing
potentially.
down pattern is important. You slow them down and then you just tempo them down. That's not like super control y. That's more like mid range E. But that's what we have right now, even in the world champions mind. So for players like you and me, we definitely enjoy and find combo decks pretty cool. I always feel like people have different cup of teas. So in different metas, sometimes it's like all those created buys. There are several, players who are openly very all for, created by metas like Masanto. And then there are players like me who doesn't like created buys and all those, the tempo mage we had, all those Solarian, all those Solarian stuff, not very exciting for me. So I would like but players, you and me, we love combo decks. We've been you expressed your love to combo decks for a lot. So what's the go-to combo decks for you right now?
So I've been trying a lot of the different combo decks. That has been like my main go-to this
Name
expansion,
some,
right?
Let the people know.
All right. So like the things I've been trying to make work mainly is Glide Demon Hunter,
Glad
Garrote
Demon
Rogue,
Hunter.
and I've also been trying some Raza Hunter. Even though I feel like Raza Hunter doesn't really like act as a combo deck in reality, it doesn't really feel like exactly like the old Raza did. It's been very hard for me to try to make that work. It feels pretty slow. But on the other hand, Glide Demon Hunter and Garrote Rogue are very fast and very hard to play. That is one thing that I've really noticed about this generation of combo decks we have this expansion is that they feel super hard to like figure out because I feel like they're both very different from previous combo decks in playstyle and they're kind of tricky to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I started to try to play Warlock, I'm seeing like, oh, Gabby tweeted out this rank 1 Warlock. Let me give it a shot. And then I'm like, I went like 004, and I just don't even know how to play with all those different kind of combo activators. It's just very hard to master for me in the beginning, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I personally haven't played that much Quest Warlock, but I've seen people play it, and like the turns you have to pull off sometimes are like so wild. It's actually pretty sick to like look at. I feel like
And
some of
then
these combo decks might be
Mhm.
like super hype in tournaments because
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Oh yeah.
under pressure, like the combo deck I've played the most, right, is
Uh-huh.
Garrote Rogue.
Garrote Row,
And
yes.
I can confidently say that after playing this deck a lot, I still don't know how to play this deck. It's actually
Oh yeah,
so
you have
hard
all
to
those
figure out the combo
you
thing.
have all those shadow stab the Octobot and then just redo it again, yada yada, and then you almost yeah, yesterday when I was like playing against Monsanto on ladder, and then he just totally botched the entire gadgets end turn because his hand is like filled with coins, and after he filled his hand with coins, he doesn't, and then he just go off and play a bunch of cards but ended up doing nothing.
Yeah. It's super hard because it's a lot about timing everything and like using like the correct cards in the correct order, right? And that is especially hard because every game is a different outcome, right? So like you will always have a different you will always have a different
Combination,
order. Yeah, combination.
different hand shout out to
Unless you've sort
Samo.
of mastered it to the point where you just like naturally know like what is the go-to in every scenario, right? Which is
Hmm.
really hard because there are so many like
Yeah,
ways it pans
yeah,
out.
especially for the Warlock. I'm little surprised. So for people that so for people listening that don't know, during the Grandmaster playoffs last season, our Grandmaster got to know the new patch, the little patched cards earlier, and then I was like prepping with Jarla, and then Jarla is like, hey, Casper come up with this super cool warlock decks, we should try it. And
I
then we
remember
tested
that.
it, and then we tested for a while. So the warlock looks like a control warlock, so it's based off of a control warlock, but it's way thinner with Stealer of Souls, which is like of a key card in the which is a big key card in the Quest Warlock right now. I'm surprised you didn't play Quest Warlock. I thought you can throw all the love
Oh, I'm actually a bit surprised myself to be honest, because I was
yeah,
I
you're
was
a Stealer
really
of Souls.
I
You're
was
like the
really
biggest supporter for Stealer of Souls.
Yeah. I was playing Stealer of Souls like I was trying to make it work expansions ago. You know, I was just waiting for this moment where like like we got all the support we needed. But I don't know, somehow like these other decks have just caught my attention more, and
Oh
I'm just
yeah.
I'm just not a warlock. I'm just not a warlock main right now. I also thought that going into this expansion, I was gonna be like a hunter main with the new Rasa, right? But that also hasn't really come up yet. But it's still so early in the expansion, right? So maybe like people will figure out new lists, and suddenly like decks that we don't see right now are just gonna pop up and be like very good. One
Yeah.
thing that I really like about this expansion is that with the new generation of quests, I feel like the quests are very good at sort of getting the different classes to play new play styles and generating new decks that way, which is really cool.
I've been playing mage nonstop. I feel like a mage, I've been a
Uh huh.
freeze mage player, juggling with spells. I feel so good.
Yeah. I think the quests are really satisfying to play.
Yes,
It just
exactly.
feels so good to like go through the different stages and like
Hmm.
slowly get there, and then you have like this big payoff, which is just like
And
boom.
then and then with like the demon hunter you mentioned, the quest demon, the demon hunter with quest and glide, it's super cool that you don't even have to use glide at the outcast position. You just play it for yourself sometimes, and then it's super good.
Yeah. It's the quest Demon Hunter is really really interesting, man. It's so hard to like play with timings and stuff. I think
But
I
you
haven't
play
really
the
figured out myself
OTK.
yet.
You still play the OTK everything, right?
Yeah. I've been playing the OTK, but I also believe that there might be non OTK lists out there, but
Yeah.
it's probably like a bit harder to find out because that would be an entirely new deck, right? I feel like the OTK is probably a bit easier to figure out because we already have like sort of
Oh,
what we
yesterday
see.
I played against this quest demon hunter with Lion's Frenzy, and then he just yonked me for like 13 damage.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like 10 damage and then 13 damage, but I got 2 ice barriers. I survived.
Oh, okay. Well, you haven't been facing the Pheno technology yet with that. What's the card called? SI7, the one that destroys the secret. Infiltrator.
Oh.
Yeah. That is like what people are playing in Rogue now. In the SI Rogue, like they just
Hmm.
actually just play all the SI cards. SI Rogue is actually one of the decks I've been very surprised by. It's way
Oh.
stronger than I thought it would end up being.
Yeah, I was gonna go to that. I'm just saying, it's only 3 days. Any victory laps you want to do on the card reviews that you guys did? Like,
Oh, victory
and
laps.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean,
the,
for
the,
3 days you get to a victory lap, and then you don't care about the 5 day mark. You don't care about the 1 week mark.
okay, so
Just three
the
day mark.
the good thing about our card review is that we are like, I think we're generally like the most optimistic card review. Like we have like the most fours out of all the card reviews. So even though we might be wrong a lot, no one actually remembers that, but we're also right a lot, and that everyone remembers, and we can just brag
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
exactly. You just make 10 predictions for every card.
Yeah. We just rate every card a four. Something has to be a four. But I feel like, well, the one that I probably nailed the most was the Paladin. I feel like we got a pretty good prediction on the Paladin, and I
Oh,
do
well, what is the
believe.
prediction and why do you think it's accurate?
Well, I basically said that Paladin was going to be the best class and the best deck,
Ooh.
and I do believe Paladin is the best deck right now.
Wow, whoa, I did when I said victory lap, I didn't expect this. This is like a just total meta call.
Meta call, yeah. I've been, because this is the order deck I've been playing. Besides combo decks, this is the order deck I've been playing, and
There's so
this
many
deck
variations
feels
of
so
Paladin.
powerful.
I can't keep track of it. So, well, what's the Paladin version that you're playing right now?
So, well, I believe most of the versions are running the Divine Shield stuff, right? There's just different types of card that people are playing together
Oh,
with the Divine
so
Shield stuff.
absolutely the hand buff little thing, absolutely the quest, you mean, right?
Oh, I'm not running the quest.
Oh, no
There's
quest.
like,
Okay.
well, I'm not sure how popular this Paladin is like on all the ladders right now, but it seems to be very popular in EU right now, at
Mm.
least, that people
Okay,
are
so I'm
catching
looking
on to
at
it.
HS replay. You play stuff like Cornelius and then just all the mid-rangey stuff, right?
Yeah. So you play mostly minions, and then you just run the conviction together with the battleground battlemaster, also known as Lotheb to some people. Um, yeah, and that is like an extremely strong win con. It's actually insane how big your minions get with this deck. I'm currently having a very hard.
I just got like super dunked yesterday when playing Warlock. I'm like, he only has 8 attack on board, and I have like 29 health. I'm I'm chilling.
Yeah, and then he just
I'm
hits you
super
with the
chilling.
conviction, and then you're just like, oof, okay, I guess I died.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
it.
It's actually this is by far the strongest deck I have played. Or I'm not sure if this like I have played Garrote Rogue, and I feel like Garrote Rogue is very strong, but I can't pull it up. I'm just not good enough. Which
Oh,
is I feel like maybe
whoa! You have to be careful with that if you're not good enough.
yeah. That deck is super hard. But I
Uh-huh.
feel like with this deck, this is like a deck that is very like noob friendly, I would say. And even at like a high level where people are playing really well, I feel like it still stacks up with having like a lot of powerful stuff to do. I
Okay,
feel like it's
so mhm.
really just Rush Warrior from last expansion, but taken to another level.
Oh, I see. I see. That's a good way to put it because I do see the Akariel and then Blade Master Samuro just easy rush minions.
Yeah. And a lot of hand buff, right? Which is
Hmm.
sort of what you were trying to do with that deck too.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And then I was thinking about, yeah, you said about all those very hard combo decks that is hard to pull it off. So now for a Hearthstone beginner, there are still choices, right? There's still choices.
There are definitely choices. I feel like we are always like playing in this, bubble, right? Because we are probably both very competitive players, and most of like
And
the
then we are
top scene.
old and we've been playing for so long.
Well, yeah. Like in reality, our meta game will never really be exactly the same as the meta game for like newer players and stuff, right? And if you go on to a lower level, more decks will be viable because people are not playing optimized and they are also just not having necessarily the best list, right?
Yeah, you
So
have all those even paladin dominations, Highlander Hunter dominations,
yeah, of
Token Druid
course.
dominations.
I still believe that there's like always like, let's say you want to hit legend, right? There is no way that a single class cannot hit legend right now.
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like
that's for sure,
everything
man.
is
No, I mean,
not
you
even
can
close.
always hit legend with like zero legendary
Yeah.
cards, like normally.
But when you come to like the top level, and people are trying to like optimize everything, then
Mm.
towards of like refinement at least of the metagame, we usually end up with maybe some classes like not having strong enough cards to like keep up with others.
Oh
But right
yes.
now, I actually feel like we're not necessarily in that state yet. I feel like most of the classes actually have game. So even though you're like a very high ranked player, I feel like there's tons of
You sure
stuff to
Ilusha
explore.
has some room? Ilusha has some room in this.
Well, you know, I wish I could say no, but I feel like Priest has has a lot of unexplored potential this expansion still, and people are.
I hate to hear that,
I
man.
feel like.
I truly, I genuinely respect your opinion. And then
Well, I mean,
I do.
I say this as a person that haven't liked Priest in 2 years.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh yeah.
and
So
I really
that's a
don't.
high five there. That's a high five there.
And I really don't want like the priest that has been playable for like the past years to still be playable. But I
Yeah.
do think that for like control players, especially
Mhm.
if you want to play control in this meta game, figuring out the priest is probably your best way to do that because priest does have very good cards to tackle combo decks, and they also have very good cards to tackle some of the flooding decks right now with the new card I got, Shard of the Naru.
Hmm.
They actually have what I would call the best card against the Druid decks and the Paladin decks, which are very reliant on buffing the board, right?
So what does Shard of the Nard do for the
It's
people out there?
tradable, silence all enemy minions.
Mm.
So it's especially good versus divine shields, hand buffs, board buffs, and all that stuff, right? Which is
But yeah, like
definitely
you said,
relevant in the meta game
it's
right
like
now.
super great tech versus the mid range deck out there. And as a control deck, you want great tools like that.
Yeah. And that is the direction I'm seeing. Like, if you want to play a control deck in this meta game, you can't just, play a control deck. Well, this is like, I think this is like generally what it is with control decks, right? If you're playing a control deck, you are sort of reacting to the other decks, right? You want to beat everything they have. And that is often why control decks aren't that popular in the beginning of an expansion, right? Because the meta hasn't really established yet. So like, how are you supposed to like build a control deck when you don't know what you want to be?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so people now you guys can see this is the former world champion brainstorming for you guys in real time. He's saying he's been trying to think for the control players out there, but he's clearly a control player.
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's a
You know,
there's a
I
there's a version of Hunterace out there that is a pure control player. So he's actually just sharing the love, showing the love himself.
back in the day, I used to be like the biggest control player ever. I like
Yeah,
only
yeah,
play
yeah.
control decks.
I know all. I know it all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, yeah, yeah. It was like I was like playing. I was also playing a lot with Yarla, right? Yarla is also like the biggest control player ever. So
Oh,
yeah, we were like big control players.
yeah.
But
And then
like
one thing I'm really noticing is on HS replay, like we mentioned, all the quest or slash combo decks is win rates like pure plummet, pure shit, or basically. And it's interesting that maybe we are going to be seeing, if the meta continues to have a certain level of combo decks in it, then we're going to see the biggest the discrepancy from our eye test or like a real game testing about the feelings about the matchup, and then the HS replay and data, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's always been this to an extent, right? With
Yeah,
combo
yeah,
decks,
of course,
especially.
of course.
HS replay is never like that highly fan of the combo decks, I guess, because they are naturally harder to play, right? So like the average player will be performing like worse with a OTK deck than an aggro deck normally, at least. So
Oh
that
yeah.
makes sense for sure. But there are combo decks right now that I think even HS replay are like a big fan of. I think OTK Demon Hunter has a pretty solid winner right now, and that is a very hard deck to play. So definitely pretty interesting for sure.
Oh
And go
yeah.
and going back to like the control thing,
Mm-hmm.
I also think that
Oh, coming back. Here's the comeback.
uh, um um I also think there is some potential for Warrior to be a playable control deck, but I haven't really figured it out yet. But Warrior has armor, right? And they also have Bulwark, so they have some sustain against some of the OTK decks.
I'm just thinking, you've been tweeting about Glide, you've been hyping about Glide, and now you're just baiting people into thinking about control. What are you trying to do, man?
Yeah. Dude, Alan, the aggro decks are taking over, man. I'm getting desperate. I can't play my OTK decks anymore. Aggro
Yeah,
decks.
I'll, it's quite fun. I've been, having so much fun with. I've been like jamming Mage nonstop just because it's like super fun to play. But I also can see, like you said, aggro decks are super scary. Even for Mage, Mage has, as a combo deck. Mage has enough, little tools to deal with early games, and now with the fire sale, the AOE, it should be pretty good. But sometimes it's just the nature of the combo deck. But
Yeah.
for
Sometimes the
people,
aggro deck just goes too hard. There's
mm,
just too much pressure. I've also seen the rise of some new aggro decks now, like the recent. Well, we haven't had that many days, of the new expansion, but let's say the recent hours is like so recent. but I've seen people be trying to hype up aggro Shadow Priest, and also
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
aggro Druid on the rise,
You know
which
what?
both are.
Aggro Shadow Priest also. Talking about one of the best tools, aggro Shadow Priest also have the best aggro card, I think, in the meta.
Oh, wait, which is that?
Which is the attendant, I
Oh
think.
yeah, Void Touch Attendant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card
The
is.
attendant is sick. It's so aggro.
Well, it can really. I actually had a game. I was trying like one game yesterday of that. I was trying to make the aggro Shadow Priest work, right?
Mhm.
And I was playing like attendant, right? And I had a double attendant on board, and I was like beating the aggro shaman kind of, right? But then I was like 27 health, and he developed like a doom hammer, and I died in one turn because I had double attendant on the board.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, it goes both ways. I
yeah, yeah,
forgot. Oh,
yes, yes.
I've been
It goes
playing
both
mage too much.
ways. It's actually, dude, it actually makes the games very explosive for sure.
Oh yeah, but like we said, it's so in general in this meta still very much untapped potential, and then we have a lot of fun things going on, exciting combo decks lovers, aggro deck lovers. There's always things for you out there, and then like we said, the game is slowing down. The game is getting quicker. Excuse me. So that's a good thing.
Well, we think that is a good thing. You could always argue that's a bad thing, right? But
Oh,
I feel
I'm all for higher stake decisions. People say there's no skill in aggro. Wait till the whole meta is full of aggro. Try to figure it out.
like. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, not everyone has, infinite time to play either, right? And for
Yeah.
more casuals, I imagine it is more convenient to, play shorter games.
All
I, I
right.
heard that, I heard that the priest deck, the Ilusha priest deck or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, had like the most like early game concedes ever of any deck,
Oh,
which is
where did
like.
that data come from?
Oh no, it's like I heard that there was a vicious syndicate or something that reported on it that like people conceding turn one versus priest was like actually like something that just happened more than with any other class.
Oh, for sure. I'm one of them too. I'm just chilling on ladder. Why should I be playing priest? And because I've been playing all those decks that I play in GM on ladder usually, and then in GM you just ban priest at least for the last season,
Yeah.
and
That is
then
also one thing that is like a hot topic right now is that people are complaining about the lack of interactivity, with the K decks.
mhm.
And I'm gonna I'm gonna be honest here, and I think like the least interactive deck I have ever played against was this priest from like the previous year. Like whenever I played against this deck, I had no clue what was in their hand. I had no clue what they were like capable of doing that game. I literally just play my cards and hope that they don't
Just you jam all in, and then it's the turn 5 flash shield plus Zarella, and the flash shield just comes out of nowhere. What the f, right?
Yeah, and there's like I don't know. That is what I've felt like is like peak uninteractivity. I've like felt completely hopeless playing against them. When you try to like strategize versus it, there's just always like a way for him
Oh,
to.
that's one thing I really agree is at least versus combo decks, you know what's coming, and then you can just kind of sort of tailor your game plan against
Yes.
that. Maybe the last two turns is not very interactive, but that's the nature of Hearthstone. We don't have very much, counter actions
Yeah,
in
when it
your
comes to like
opponent's
combo
turn.
decks, right? You have to like if you're playing like with combo decks, you have to be able to like put something in your deck that can handle it, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
make you in a better position with it. If you're not playing any cards to counteract the combo deck, right? And you're playing a slow deck, then like the combo deck succeeded in their game plan, right? And you
And then it's
try to
just
stop them.
the nature of the matchup of Hearthstone not being able to interact. That's not too much to complain about, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Normal components.
The problem becomes when said combo deck is actually like unbeatable, right? You can't do anything in your deck to
Mm,
counteracted with it, or the combo decks suddenly also beat the aggressive decks,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I currently have doubts is the case, but the time
Well,
will definitely
by that time comes, it's when it's just the balance patch time. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll end this new expansion segments with, if you were to change something right now, make a change, make any change you've been thinking of. Make at least one, anything in your mind. Let's go.
So one thing that I really want is
All
that I
right,
really want the
Blizzard employee hat. Let's go.
yeah, one thing I really want is for Raza Hunter to be playable. Like
Oh, you're
there's
doing
like
buffs. You're so
what?
nasty. You're doing buffs.
What?
Oh, I thought you're gonna buff Raza Hunter.
Oh no, I am buffing Raza Hunter. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm like, where's the nerfs? Hey, I'm looking for nerfs here.
Wait. Dude, there are too many people calling out nerfs. I actually think that I would be more down for buff. I like the power level right now. I'm more down for buff
Oh,
than nerfs. I would have more things on this power level rather than like this powerful stuff now tuned down. You know.
oh, I actually agree. I actually agree. But I'm
Well, I
just the
mean,
voice for people, man. People out there just want to just chill, have fun, not being OTK'd in on like turn 7, turn 6.
yeah. But yeah, so one thing I would do for the Rasa Hunter is that in the first reward for the quest, you also draw a card. Then, then Rasa Hunter will all of a sudden be real. That's the difference. And then it's actually playable. Yeah.
So don't forget, people. His ID is Hunterace, so that's why.
It's actually pretty funny because Hunter is actually the class that have the least wins with it. So
Oh,
I'm not really a Hunter race Sedge.
yeah,
Well,
you're not like.
actually, I kind of am because the whole idea is that Hunter is my ace, right? So I'm like saving it for like the right time, and
Oh,
then
you bounce back. You bounce it back. You bounce it
yeah,
back.
I'm saving it for the right time. You know, I don't want to reveal my ace too early.
Okay. I think we've had a great talk on new expansion. Let's take a break and then we'll come back with more about the former world champion himself, Hunterace. We'll come back. So when I say I'm gonna talk about the former world champion, I meant it. If my intel wasn't wrong, people haven't been seeing about you. Am I correct? In turn,
Um, yeah. I have sort
not too
of
much streaming, not too much tweeting.
not too much streaming, not too much tweeting, not too much competing. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
ever since the COVID, I feel like things have sort of developed a bit, I guess, for me in terms of like the whole competing and streaming and stuff.
Oh,
It's
please.
been
I was about to ask that. So, what's your just in general? What's your attitude towards Hearthstone right now? We see you playing, but not playing in the Master Source, right? We see you tweet about ladder decks from here and there, but you doesn't seem to grind on ladder anymore or strive for coming back to GM anymore. Not too much Master Source appearance. Tell us about it.
all right. So it's sort of like I guess a long story ish, but
Hey, it's okay.
ever since COVID started, I feel like the entire like Hearthstone and like the competing perspective has sort of changed a bit for me. Like COVID was obviously very hard on everyone, right? But
Mm-hmm.
one of
Maybe for a different country, it's different. Can tell us about when did COVID start
yeah,
for you?
but it's not necessarily about like the fact that it was like bad necessarily in Norway or something.
Mm.
It's more the fact that my life for a lot of years has revolved around Hearthstone, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was traveling a lot in the
Mm.
like earlier years,
Yeah,
competing in the open system and like
that's
traveling
when the
around,
HCC
seeing
system we
places.
had.
Yeah. Seeing places and traveling around, competing in tournaments, like following, my vision and my sort of like
Dream.
my dream. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, let's just call it that.
Yeah. My dream. So that was very, very special, and I really enjoyed all of that. And I was very successful when it came to like achieving what I was, trying to achieve and stuff like that. And one of the things that really hit in COVID was that even though we were very lucky that we could still sort of compete and like
Online.
yeah, online, right? And we weren't necessarily that hurt by the entire COVID thing. At the same time, it was a very big deal for me because I sort of realized that one of the things that was very important to me, and I didn't really have it any longer, was that I lost the entire, like travel aspect and the aspect of like having like competitors and friends like to be
Yeah.
and
You mean
share
the
all of
little,
the
li-
experiences with. Yeah,
yeah. So just
it felt
community and then just little group gathering.
yeah, correct. It felt at the beginning at least, it felt very like isolated, and it didn't really give me the same vibes anymore to compete. It just wasn't the same. And this is not really only because of COVID. It's also happened after, I would say, the GM thing started. I felt ever since then, competing became a bit different. I'm not 100% sure like how much
You
that is
mean
GM.
the starting of the entire GM system, right?
Yeah. Ever since
You,
then, I think it changed a
for
bit.
people who don't know, Hunterace is selected for the first generation of GMs, obviously, but GM started at 2019. So you competed. So Hunterace competed in the entire year for 2019, and then he got close in both seasons to going into the worlds, but didn't get there. And then in 2020, unfortunately, in the first season, you got relegated from a very unrelegatable situation, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. You know your lore. You know your lore, Alan.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that
We've
that
been
was
following you, man. For sure, man.
that's sweet. That's sweet. I mean, you are still doing well in GM, right? You're still playing this.
Yeah, I go to playoffs every time, but that's it.
Yeah. That's not bad. You're staying up there. That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, you were trying to say. Mhm.
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah. Ever since GM started, I sort of felt that one of the things that was very big for me when at the beginning, it was a long time ago. I think it was the beginning of 2000 or like the end of 2017, maybe, when they announced the new system for the upcoming year. It might have
Mhm.
even been earlier. I don't remember exactly the date, but it was quite some time ago now. Was
End of
that
2017.
yeah. It
Hmm.
might have been earlier even. I don't remember. The beginning of that very long ACT year, right?
Hmm.
Where it was like the whole championship tour, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When I got the overall information, and like what was planned to be done that year in terms of all the
Yeah.
competition, right?
The esports package of
Yeah,
the
the
upcoming
esport
year.
package of that year. That was sort of, the moment where I really just, sat down and I was like, wow, like this year, like if you are the best player in your region and you play everything and you you do well and you're the best player in your region, you will qualify to the world championship.
It's
That
the
that was
last
that was
call,
that
right?
was that was what I believed after looking at that. And I felt that was like the turning point where I sort of just decided that that will be my, full goal to be able to do that, because I saw the system and it felt like, this open system where everyone had an equal chance, to be able to qualify. And if you were the best player overall, in the year in terms of tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
you would qualify over everyone else, which
Mm,
I was, I mean, I might have been, a bit too optimistic, I have no clue, but I was sort of confident enough that I believe that could be me.
Hey, you everyone believes, man. I had a dream.
Yeah.
I have a dream. I still have the dream.
Yeah, I believe, man. So that was when I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And that was like a very special year for me, where I felt like
Special moment, definitely, right?
yeah, special. Well, I mean, when I won the world championship, that was like very, very special. But the entire year was so special for me because I'd had some very struggling years uh, before that, and this entire like travel thing and like the entire community, esport community, sort of just gave me like a home where I felt
Mm,
that this community and like the companionship of all the competitors, right?
mhm.
And that was sort of what happened at the beginning of the GM, right? I sort of already, because I knew about the GM before it was officially announced, right?
Yeah.
And I was heavily advocating against it,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt it was sort of an unfair thing for a lot of
Yeah, you
up
we
and
we
coming
lost
players.
the format and what got you to be the world champion, right?
Yes, it was like I don't know how much we'll get into the discussion, but like it was. I was heavily saying that if this was the system, when I was like in my like
At
going in,
the If this
it,
was the system at the end of the 2017 when you saw
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
esports
it,
package,
it wouldn't
there's
work.
no more light bulbs.
It wouldn't work, and I was afraid, for like the next sort of up and coming player, right? That it would be way harder for them to sort of like reach, the next stage. Ever since then, I think that the GM system has become a lot better and a lot more fair. Like in the beginning, it was, I
Two
would say,
relegation spots.
extremely, yeah, relegation spots, and it was also like a very like rough like qualification system, where it was definitely not like sort of guaranteed that the best players would succeed, right? I remember that year, Dedro was very good, right? He was like
Mm,
sort of looked upon as the up and coming player that was like performing best in like all the tournaments, and he
yes.
just didn't qualify um, to the GM, which was, I don't know, very
But
disappointing to see, right? Because GM,
that's also an EU thing, yeah.
yeah, of course, that's always an EU thing. I mean, that did happen with the new system, right? The regions were more split, and it felt like, especially at competing in the Europe, it was very, very hard to get into that,
Mm-hmm.
GM, and then further into like the world championship spot, right? When in the previous year, it wasn't that hard. Like no matter which region you could have, like what matter which region you are in, if you perform, to the level, you would be able to qualify to the world championship, which I felt personally, obviously, was a lot more fair. And I think that really like started to hit me. And I felt in some of the tournaments, I remember I felt pretty frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure like how, it wasn't that bad in the beginning, but I started feeling like very frustrated, and it didn't. This was also a problem that
Is
in
it can you say are there any whens? Just when you had the frustration when it started?
it started like at some point in GM. I remember, but I don't remember exactly. But
Okay.
it,
Is it
it was
like
sort of
before or
just
after specialist?
there was a point. Okay, well, yeah, specialist was also not
It's
the
not
greatest.
helping. That's not helping.
There was a lot of things that sort of
Added
uh,
together.
added together, sort of made it so I felt like really bad about stuff in general when
Mm.
it came to competing. And I think the COVID thing was the over the top, that sort of just
The last straw that
yeah,
killed the
yeah, that sort
camel.
of made me want to like, I don't know, take a break, and not like think about it too much and not focus on too much. I also didn't like the meta game at any of the points. I think when it came to
In the
competition.
entire GM, right?
Well, no. There were some earlier metas in GM that I thought were fine, but after COVID, like the last year, I think the meta has been like pretty mediocre with like heavily priest influenced, etc. But that I don't think that is the necessarily the important thing. I think I sort of just lost like the joy and like the spirit of competition with the entire, GM being so excluded. You're not like feeling like the system was open enough. And then towards COVID, like the whole traveling thing.
Yeah, the human element is taken out.
And the human element, right? I'm not like seeing like all of the people I got to know, and like the people who you like shared all the the unlucky moments with, and
Oh
like
yeah, I talked about this in our in the last in the first episode of the Fireside with No Hands Gamer. Is it's really fun in the tournaments that in every round everyone just gathers and then talk about how shit the draws were and all that to get it out of your system. You need to get
yeah.
that out of your system.
You have like you have the people that you share that experiences with, right? That like share your pain, and you can also celebrate the winners in like a way different way, right?
Yeah,
I
we were like happy for Casey, happy for Fino. I
Yeah,
think he
yeah,
was in Orange County, and then we're happy for you for our various master stores and all that.
yeah. I
Not
remember
master
that.
stores, it was tour stops.
Dude, that is one of my favorite moments, I think. I remember in Seoul,
Yeah, I
in the
knew you
tournament
were
there.
going
Were
there.
you in
I
that
knew you were
tournament?
going there.
You were in the tournament, Alan? I don't remember exactly.
Oh, so I wasn't in the tournament, but I saw a lot of clips and videos.
Oh,
There's a huge
yeah.
crowd there.
Well, one thing that I really appreciated about that tournament was that, I was not leading the last call at that point, right? It
Mm.
was like Fino, I, and Psycho, I think. Psycho.
But it wasn't. But it's like, but Seoul is like the middle of the year. You guys still have a long way to go.
Yeah, correct. It was like Psycho and I, which were pretty close to each other. And I believe Fino was like the top of the table, right? And I was like sort of popping up in the tournament, right? And once I won the tournament, I remember like Fino being like the first dude up there to like congratulate me on the stage, and
Mm.
that was like something that, wow, I really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
that was really special because like I was sort of making his dreams of winning the last call and like stuff like that way harder. But even though I was his competitor and stuff like that, he was still so happy for me, and
That's just
that was sort of like
class, right?
so
That's
special.
just
Yeah.
class by Fino as well.
Yeah. So, but I felt like that was the general feeling I had when it came to like a lot of the competitors and stuff. We generally just, we were happy for each other, and
Yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
felt like there was like a community, and
Mm.
especially for me, that was pretty. I would say I was pretty like in the beginning at least pretty shy, and I'm very like well, I have a hard time opening up to people. It takes like
Mm.
some time before I like really feel like I can like talk to people and stuff. And being able to actually form relationships with a lot of the Hearthstone people, and having this common thing that all of the players love, and this
Yeah,
passion.
yeah. That clearly was a great build up to our relationship in the beginning because
Dude, I remember actually
yeah, I
because
do. Me
it
too.
was in Japan, right?
Yeah, it was in HCT Tokyo.
And I was so like, I think you were hanging out a lot with Muzzy
Muzzy, yeah, and Dog.
and
Dog,
Dog. Yes, I
yeah.
remember. And I was just like, I had a friend of mine in Northern with
Hmm.
me, but I remember being like, like so, shy and like not wanting to like take too much, like saying
Just
hi,
not being very engaged and all that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's something that I think I have struggled a lot with, and but
But then it's like super cool. That's a it's an interesting story to share. We met in we got to know each other face to face in Tokyo, and then it was after HCT Tokyo that Casper Hunterace reached out to me to talk about Hearthstone, and then say, hey, we should practice together and all that. That's very very sweet of you, because at the time, I I'm not gonna say I think very low of myself, but definitely I look up to you at the time. So that was like super exciting for me.
Yeah. I remember that tournament. I was so excited. I remember, I remember in the final, you had like, I don't remember if this is intentional or not, but I remember like the 4 toilet breaks or something.
Oh yeah. It wasn't intentional. It's just my tournament tempo,
And then I remember, oh yeah, this was great. This was great. You had the rope. What was it? Fireball or
Oh,
something?
yeah. I roped out the fireball because I want to, break his mind.
Yeah. You roped out the fireball and then went straight to the toilet. It was pretty great to watch. I remember that. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember being pretty like, again, as I said, I have generally like a pretty hard time like connecting with people
Mm-hmm.
the first time, I see them or like meet them. But after a while where you get sort of more familiar with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're sort of like, I at least feel like, confident enough to, start talking with them and like actually engaging, right? Which
Yeah.
I felt like I was able to develop with the Hearthstone community because we were just, traveling everywhere together, right? I was suddenly like in Europe, and then we were in like Seoul, Singapore, and it was just, the same group of people. Like
And then it's
all over
just
the
different food, different sceneries you can enjoy, right?
Yeah. It was really special. One
Uh,
thing that I really sort of regret. But I also at the same time, I really can't see myself, doing anything like different necessarily in the stage I was
but
in, right?
it's a regret in hindsight, let's say.
Oh no, yeah, or no, I'm not even sure if it is, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Please.
something that in the future I am definitely looking forward to when it's possible, I guess. Is
Mm-hmm.
that when I was traveling, I was like sort of in this like uh like zone bubble, like this flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you sort of just have like this one focus, and things just like come so naturally, and this is like the only thing you're just going forward all the time. You're not really thinking like too much about like anything,
Yeah.
which
You're
sort of
competing, right? You're thinking about
yeah.
Hearthstone all day.
Thinking about Hearthstone all the time, trying to go to the next tournament, next tour stuff. Where am I traveling next? What am I bringing? Like, how do I get the most points, etc. Right? And like, it's actually pretty amazing to think about how like, because I was 17, 18 at this point, right? It's actually pretty amazing to think about how like many different places, I've actually been. And one
Mm.
thing that I really like sort of regret, but I can't really imagine it being like I can't really imagine ever like being very different, was that even though I've been like so many places, I feel like in a lot of these places I haven't really been able to, explore the actual places, and like
Oh yeah.
what
But
like
it's always a weekend, right? It's a 5-day compressed mission basically.
yeah.
You
That
go
that is
there, you
that
start
is what it is,
resting,
right?
you start adjust for
And then,
the jet lag, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you're ready to go the next day. You have to be ready to go.
Yeah. And then like normally, well, there are some times, when you like go together with some other people and like see something, right? But besides that, like most of the time is just spent, together with other people, and complaining about how lucky you got and
Yeah.
and watching the games, right? That
Hmm.
is like most of it. But
Yeah,
I've
I've
definitely
had those moments. You feel like you've been to the city, you've been to the airport, but that's it.
yeah. So I don't know. In the future, I am definitely, planning or like looking forward to maybe
Uh,
going back to some of these places and
it's just
really,
the reappreciation of traveling, basically.
yeah. Reappreciation of traveling, in a different way maybe. I
Mm,
even like for example, I think um if COVID never happened, and we had let's say like 6 masters a year, I feel like I would still be very, interested in just going to all the masters and qualifying. It's
Just trying to
that,
grind a little bit for the master store, so we can see each other and see the
well,
boys.
for sure. But I would probably also be more inspired to, actually, perform and stuff. But
uh,
yeah, because like that would be like you actually get to see people, and it's like I really did feel this year just lost a lot of, well, for me at least, I just lost a lot of the spirit, man, which is really really sad, I feel like. But I really hope that, in the future, I
mhm.
guess maybe like this can come back. I have no clue exactly what is going to happen in the future, and like what, like,
But it
exactly I'm
sounds
doing.
like
But I am sure that once I have like possibilities, right, and the option to, I'm definitely looking forward to like trying to challenge myself a bit, and like get a bit out in the world again and meet people, because I
yeah.
feel like this year, even though it's been like very uncomfortable in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
it's also been, very like sort of full of, like, feel like full of comfort in a way, because you've just
You
not
just
done
stay in the
something.
comfort zone
Yeah, yeah,
24/7.
yeah. You just stay in the comfort zone too much, right?
Cozy life.
Yeah, yeah. And this is one of the problems that I've had in the past, I think a lot, is that I've sort of reached this like comfort zone. Like this is what I think Hearthstone, well, at least competing in Hearthstone and like traveling around really helped me with, was that I sort of managed to challenge myself, right? And get out of the
It
comfort
brings you
zone.
there's too much order in your normal life, so
Yeah,
it
way,
brings
way
you a
too
little
much.
bit of spark and chaos,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, way too much order, right? And what happens then is that, like, when you're just too comfortable all the time and you're not able to challenge yourself, which I am at times, and I really want to, like, be able to like challenge myself more, and in ways that I feel are meaningful.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like you could just end up in scenarios where, like, if your comfort zone is like too like far in like super comfort, then almost everything else starts becoming like uncomfortable, right? Because you're just so comfortable and you just don't want to have any discomfort at all.
And
That is
then
like
you
a very
just
scary thing.
everything is a reach, basically.
Yeah, everything is a reach, and I felt like at one point in my life where I struggled a lot with anxiety. That was sort of what
Mm.
happened. That I sort of reached this point where I had so much discomfort in like almost doing anything. It was like
Mm.
so hard, and I only found like comfort in some things. And that was in general what the the whole traveling and the esport thing really opened up for me. It's helped me start to sort of challenge myself, right? And like get out of the comfort zone, which
Oh.
which I think was very very big for me,
But
helping myself
yeah, I
grow.
mean, just for me personally, you winning the worlds that year has always been the most beautiful stories ever written in the Hearthstone
Uh,
history. You know, if anyone were to write a book about Hearthstone from the beginning, from the very beginning, the biggest chapter would be like 2018, and then you winning the whole thing.
I mean, I really appreciate that, but I have no, like, I was a big Hearthstone fan before that. Also, I love all the stories, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
but in
was
terms of,
it was
yeah,
a
speaking
spiritual
of
journey, man.
stories, you said about like in Master Sword Soul, Vino came up and congratulate you, even though you were actually very on par. You guys were very close in the last call competition, and it was there was also a build up to it, right?
Yeah,
Like you said in
I really did feel the entire, storyline that year. When we were playing Worlds, right? That
2017.
year, I
Hmm.
remember like all the players were players that, like, I have played like a lot of tournaments with all of these guys this year. Like, I know a lot of them. Like, this is it. This is like the top of the top, and this is
Mm.
just, it just feels right. I feel like this was just how it's supposed to be. You have like all of these people that have grinded the entire year, some of them like top point earners, which is
Hmm.
like obviously extremely hard, but also
Yeah,
just
it's like
people,
everyone is respectable, right?
yeah, but also just people qualifying through the order system, right? Where the championships and the playoffs, right? I
Uh,
also felt that was very special and very hard because the playoffs were very, very like elite of the league in terms of like only 64 players qualifying and
yeah.
then people qualifying of that and then another tournament. That was a
Is
very
that
hard
a
place
EU
to
only
find.
statement? What's your stance?
Oh, I mean, I seriously think that like um generally during this year like the top players of all the regions have always been like very strong, right?
Yeah,
But the general thing about Europe, I think, is that we've had maybe like the most players. Let's say if we have
like
like
the
top 64,
middle
right?
strongest or
Yeah,
the
the
most
middle,
players
right?
in the middle class, right?
Yeah, we have like we have so
M-
many strong players in the
Upper
middle.
middle class, basically.
So one of the things that I guess happened more in the EU than the other regions was that in the EU, it was like more different, I think, who qualified for the playoffs each time because there are so many players in the EU that were sort of capable of getting there, right? And when
Mm.
in the NA and the Asia region, I think that there were like players like going back to back and stuff, which is like pretty cool. I think some
Mm.
people did that in EU too, but I think that was a bit harder in Europe. But generally, when it came to like the top, I felt that all the regions have like very good representatives.
Yeah, I'm just thinking outside the box here. I'm looking at Liquipedia on your past performances. Actually, one thing jumped out to me is it's just at the end of 2017, you actually got to top 8,
Oh
and then
yeah,
you
yeah. I
lost the win
actually,
and in. You lost the win and in for the seasonals.
I that is true. It's actually okay. I remember this because this was actually okay. These tournaments
The
were
last
wild, by the way.
the last
Okay, we're
preliminary of
yeah, we're
2017.
talking about past now, but like this tournament was actually wild. I remember because this was the point where there were like playoff locations everywhere, right? And I remember
Mm-hmm.
this being like a playoff location in Norway, and I
Mm.
was there together with Bunny Hopper, and I was there together with someone called Nagato, I think, if I
Mm.
remember correctly.
Yes.
And we were like supposed to like this location was supposed to be at like this sort of like restaurant
Mm.
um at a place, but apparently that restaurant didn't have internet. So we were like sent away somewhere else.
The,
And we actually had
the
like a
the
pretty
venue is effed up.
it really just didn't have internet. So that was great planning. But we actually ended up with a pretty like nice place. It's like inside of like not like at like the football stadium, you know, at like the grass, but like up in like the rooms, you know, and we had like the view out to the football stadium, which was pretty cool, right? But I remember these
Ooh.
tournaments being like really, really scuffed, you know, and this was like
Uh,
super. This was like very early. This was like way before I was generally like well known and like respected. I
oh,
actually
that's for sure. I was gonna say, if I were to, trying to, if I knew better, if Hearthstone has like Hearthstone player cards or something, in sports, you have player cards. If a
yeah.
player performs well, the price goes up and all that. It's like buying stocks, but in real time. I'll buy like Hunterace rookie cards. just jamming,
Yeah.
just collecting all the Hunterace rookie cards at the end of 2017.
Yeah. Um, I don't remember exactly who I lost to that tournament,
You lost to
but
Pavel.
well, it was Pavel. Yeah, it was
Oh
Pavel.
three.
Oh yeah. I remember. It's actually pretty funny. But for that tournament, I actually practiced with Psycho,
Uh-huh.
which I also think was like pretty unknown, like at that point. So
Oh yeah. So it was like back when you guys weren't the top points earners,
yeah,
weren't
it was
the
back when we
yada
weren't the
yada,
top points earners. It
and,
was
and
like
then just
before.
two little kid,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes, it actually was. And yeah, I remember that was like I don't think like I remember back then I think I thought I was like way better than I actually were. I was like very confident in myself, but I wasn't actually, you know, that good. I
But
also
then,
I also
yeah,
at this
please.
point was like not very confident with myself. I haven't really traveled to any tournaments at this point. Like,
Yeah, it was a first time
championship tour
traveling.
and stuff like that hadn't really, started. And thinking back at it, I actually think, I'm sort of happy that I didn't qualify to that.
Because the ego rush that you had maybe
Yeah, because
just will
I
destroy the
actually
2018 journey.
no, I actually don't think, I was, ready for the entire, because I was not in very good mental state at this point.
Oh, it was in Shanghai, by the way. If you won, you will
Oh,
travel to
was it? Was
Shanghai.
in
Yes.
Shanghai?
Yeah.
Oh,
At the end of
yeah, and
the
I was
summer of
not,
2018,
I,
the
I was
season was
not
in
used to
Shanghai.
traveling, and I was not in a very good mental state. I was like, doing like school, but also struggling a lot with it, and
Mm.
it was just a mess because I had like severe anxiety at that point, and
Yeah, yeah.
I was sort of seeking a lot of like Hearthstone was sort of my comfort zone in a way, but I
It's
was
just like escape,
very
so to speak,
uncomfortable.
right?
What?
Is it? It's more of like you have something to go to other than living real life.
Yeah. And I was really struggling with real life at that point. It
Mm.
was really hard for me. So that was like, if I would have qualified, I actually obviously don't know what would happen, but I didn't really like later at least. I felt that it would have felt so weird if I would have actually qualified at the end because I didn't know anyone and no one knew me. So what happened was that after that, right, and I didn't qualify, I started like really like playing and stuff, and that was the point where I think Rasa Priest and stuff like that came into the meta game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I started performing like really on the ladder, and I actually became like a player. At least the people in the Europe region actually sort of like
Started
looked
to
and like
notice basically.
talk to it. I remember Orange like asking me specifically about Rasa Priest for his world appearance that year, which was
Oh,
really
so
cool.
you were in that. You were in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all had our stories because I used to prep with Omega Zero for his worlds and CN versus EU and all that. So that's a
Mhm.
fun nugget for people out there.
Wow.
Wow.
So I like later that year, I felt like that was the point where I started, to get into the scene, like after
Mm.
like that performance
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. That's why I said buy all the rookie cards at the end of 2017.
Yeah. So then I started to get to know like words and stuff, and then like later on, we as we started, the next year, and I sort of went 100% all in and like had this, vision, and
Yeah, I know.
dream.
So let's end this podcast with a funny joke. I just thought of it. So for building up to the HCT Soul, before that you haven't won any tour stops. You actually had two second places in a row in Toronto and Germany, right? And then Seoul in Seoul you won, and then Fino congratulated you. That's when the moment you felt special. That's why you had this connection with him, right? And then that's why you said no.
Yeah. I remember that. Wow. Oh, that was a great moment. I bet most people, well, maybe some people, actually, maybe most people will actually get that reference. That's pretty funny. Yeah, dude, I remember that tournament. That was so funny. That was actually like a pretty skilled meta game. I think I was like pretty cool to see some of the plays that tournament. Like back then. I loved Priest, man. That was so fun with cleric and stuff. It was great.
Oh, I've never, I never mastered the inner fire priest or like combo priest, so I'm like super effed in that meta because you have
Oh,
to know
okay,
how to
okay.
play it.
You were good, Alan. You were like super good at this point, weren't you?
um, I fell off. I think I fell off because it was after like half a year of specialist, and I didn't like specialist.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
a half or 1 year of specialist, maybe just half a year. Yeah, half a year, half a year. Specialist only lasted for half a year, and then it didn't last until It didn't last to that Worlds, right? Because it was
Mhm.
the last Worlds uh, offline people to people Worlds event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, one thing we haven't really talked about, but
Mm.
is like sort of, I think, in like a changing, like changing state right now, is that like the leadership of the esport team has changed, right?
Mm.
And there is a lot of new things or maybe like changes coming up. I'm not sure, but like we might like see some cool stuff happening in the future with like COVID turning down and like new leadership and potentially, being
Mm.
able to travel again. That could be hype. I am
Well, yeah,
extremely.
yeah. I'm waiting for you, man. I'm waiting for the Casper that is turning up the engine.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I would love to, sort of get into that same state I was in
um,
back in the day, but I just haven't been that like the last year. So then I just felt kind of natural to not like focus too much on it because it just hasn't like been something that like brought me
yeah,
the joy, right?
but
But
then yeah, just let's end on this question then. Um, like we said, if Hearthstone is going back to a similar in a travel-ish mode, you'll be happy to come back. But are there any like future potentials for you to show up more to the Hearthstone community? Maybe this is the moment, right? You're in this podcast.
well, I am showing up to the Hearthstone community now, but I am also like currently I have been streaming the last couple of days, so I always feel like I have this tradition, of streaming at least the first two weeks, 3 weeks of every expansion, and
Yeah, maybe you call it tradition. People call it just just flashing out time to time.
yeah, 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 tradition. But if I get into like a state, like I think the problem with streaming, like generally, is that if you like personally at least, I can't do like streaming for too long, because I feel that it's just I just want to get out and like do stuff and meet people, right? It feels sometimes that it's just a bit weird for me to like just sit there and like talk with people that I don't know all the time, right? So that has always been a bit weird for me. But as long as the game is in a very good state and I'm sort of in a way where I am passionate about whatever I'm doing, it's always possible for me to do. But so like one thing that would be like super great is that if that would actually happen, right? And I feel like the system sort of supports, me being like passionate about it, which is kind of hard to predict. But if we get into a state like that, I would definitely be interested in like providing more to the community and like being more of maybe a competitor, maybe a streamer, maybe a caster,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not that it's not that you have to show up for providing for the community or anything. It's just people do care about you. There are a bunch of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
out
and I
there.
definitely care about Hearthstone. Hearthstone is like
Hearthstone
probably like
is
the
a
biggest.
life changer to say the
It's
least.
the biggest thing that's ever happened in my life, right? So
Mm,
it's definitely something that is like deep within my heart.
okay,
So
yeah,
I will always be in the Hearthstone community no matter what. It doesn't.
yeah. That's so sweet to hear. And I think that's it. And then, well, very 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 excited to have you, Hunterace, Casper, and former
Yeah,
former world
I love to
champ.
be around. It's always great to talk.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's been such a
We'll
long
have you.
time.
We'll have you back. We'll have you
It,
back.
it's been such a long time, man. You know, I miss so many of the Hearthstone people, but I definitely can't wait to see you again also in real person.
Oh
That would be
yeah,
great.
for sure, for sure. You know
All
you
right.
know how it goes. All right. Thank you for coming, Casper.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Anytime, man. Anytime.